What is going on, Lego Maniacs? It's Ty Lego Guy here, and today we're doing an actually really cool comparison of all the TIE fighters, just like we did the X-Wings last week. And we're actually gonna compare the X-Wings of the generation of the TIE fighter as well, you know, the same ones that kind of came out around the same time, just to give a little bit more interesting comparison. But to begin, we're gonna start with the TIE fighter that came out in 2005. It retailed for $20 US, was set 7263, had 159 pieces, two minifigs, two great minifigs. And honestly, this one's very similar to the 2000 TIE fighter. The only main difference is just these little black pieces right here. So I didn't feel the need to bring that one in. Moving on, we have the second generation of the TIE fighter. This one came out in 2012, so 7 years later, and we can see some big improvements over it. But that set 9492 had 413 pieces, 4 minifigs, retailed for $59.99 US. And then I thought I'd throw in the first order TIE fighter just because we can kind of see the progression, and it is very similar to the other two. It's just it has red and black, and a bit more gray, to be perfectly honest. But that is the first order Special Forces TIE fighter. That's set 75101, had 517 pieces, 4 minifigs, and retailed for $69.99 US, and came out in 2015, so just 3 years later. And then last but not least, we'll be looking at the TIE fighter, Imperial TIE fighter. That's set 75211, has 519 pieces, 4 minifigs, came out in 2018 and retails for $69.99, as you can still pick this up as of 2019. But yeah, really excited to get into this comparison, but enough talk, let's get right into it. So to start off, the 2005 TIE fighter, that's just centering on the minifigs. Now, this is by far my favorite as I kill Vader. Vader's okay, he didn't die. So anyways, as I was saying, he's my favorite minifig out of all these minifigs. I love the light up minifig. And then we got a standard just TIE fighter pilot. This was the first year he kind of came out, very plain. I will be doing reviews, specific reviews of all these sets. I just I'm not gonna center in too much on the minifigs, but I wanna let you know what's included. So that was what's included in the 2005 TIE fighter. Now let's take a look at the ship itself. And here we have the 2005 TIE fighter. So I'll just give you guys a 360 view of this. It's a nice little model. As we'll find out, it is much smaller than the other Future 3 that we'll get into. So we'll open up the cockpit, and the TIE pilot fits nicely in there. There is nothing too crazy in there, just a little control panel, and then he just sits in there. But all in all, very nice looking TIE fighter. It's pretty durable, has good swishability. But yeah, it is very aged, as you guys can see, but very cool little model. But now let's move on to the 2012. Well, to begin, the 2012 TIE fighter, that's as we've been doing. Let's take a look at the minifigs. So this was actually kind of a boring slew of minifigs. We get an astromech droid, Imperial officer, TIE pilot, Death Star trooper. So yeah, not bad selection of minifigs, just nothing too crazy. But now let's get into the TIE fighter itself. So here we have the 2012 model. As you can see, much larger than the 2005. Although I do love this one, it is very nostalgic. Basically was the TIE fighter of my childhood. But yeah, I'll give you guys a 360 view of this one. So as you can see, they really improved on the detailing. It just looks a lot more like an authentic TIE fighter. And the size is much more realistic as well. I will be doing reviews though on that and getting into some pictures from the movies just to kind of compare it. So as you guys can see, the TIE fighter pilot, he fits nicely in there. He has no console in there, which I kind of don't really like, and it has flick fire missiles. If you guys been watching this channel, you know how I feel about flick fire missiles. I think they're terrible. But I mean, I guess it's a nice little feature for the kids. But yeah, nice looking TIE fighter. Not too much to say about it, but it is definitely an improvement over the 2005. But now let's move on to the 2012. Or 2015, I should say, first order TIE fighter. Moving on, we have the 2015 First Order TIE Fighter. Now this is set in the future, as of all these ones are from the original trilogy, but we will center in on the minifigs. Now I will say, I really do like this Imperial TIE pilot, and there's two of them, which is absolutely awesome, so really like those two minifigs. Then we get some Imperial crew members. Yeah, nothing too crazy here. Yeah, anyways. But the two Imperial TIE pilots, really cool. Really do like their design. I think they did a fantastic job. Love that they incorporated the little, basically, breathing area that, that allows them to breathe in space. So really, really cool. But now let's get into the ship itself. So here we have the 2015. Very nice looking model. I love how they incorporated the black and red to kind of give the First Order impression. As you can see, it's black and gray with the predominant color being gray instead of the predominant color being black, like the 2012, or you can just go black and blue like back in 2005. Very nice back little cockpit, which we'll get into. And I'll just show you guys how these kind of work. So it has a gunner on here, which is kind of an improvement on the TIE Fighter. And then you open this guy up, and there's one of the pilots. This opens up as well, revealing both of the pilots. And then back here, we have another pilot. So the idea is one's a gunner, one's a pilot. I do feel that that's overkill for a TIE Fighter personally. But I think as far as Lego goes, it is very cool. I like the idea of two pilots from a design point of view. I just really like that. But as far as like the movie based, like, it doesn't make any sense. This TIE Fighters are supposed to be like really cheap little aircraft. Why would you have two pilots in them? Not super cheap, but cheaper than an X-Wing. There's no hyperdrive in them or anything. But anyways, I'm getting really nerdy with the Star Wars lore. Now let's move on to the 2018. And moving on another 3 years, we have the 2018 Imperial TIE Fighter. So as always, we'll take a look at the minifigs. Now I will say I actually like the selection of minifigs quite a bit. That TIE Pilot, not that this is a huge minifig comparison, but big improvement over the 2012 version, as well as the basically 2000 version, 2000 to 2005. We can see how that kind of progressed. So very nice looking TIE Pilot. Moving on, we have Han Solo, a Mimban Stormtrooper, and Tobias Beckett. This is my second favorite selection of minifigs that came in the TIE Fighter. The first one just taking the cake because it has a light up lightsaber guy. I mean, you can't beat that. That is as awesome as it gets. But yeah, very nice selection of minifigs. Now let's take a look at the model itself. So here we have the 2018 model. Very, very nice looking. This one really is reminiscent of the 2015 Ultimate Collectors series TIE Fighter. This just looks like a miniature version of that, which is what you want. Very, very nice. Yeah, I'll open up the cockpit and just kind of show you guys how it kind of works. So this one, there's no center console, which is kind of a shame, just like the 2015 as well, but it has this nice little droid torso piece, and it kind of gives the impression of like a steering wheel. It does have flick fire missiles, but these are the ones that actually work. So I do think that's definitely an improvement. And then this little top area opens up as well. So very nice looking little TIE Fighter. Is a step above the 2012, which is realistically the last one that we'll compare it against. In fact, I'll just stick that one side by side. Very similar in size, but you guys can see what I'm talking about. This one's a vast, and it's quite a bit of an improvement over this one, although this one's still very good. And this one's a huge improvement off the little guy in the back. But yeah, that about does the TIE Fighters. Now we'll move on through the review. Before we compare the TIE Fighters side by side, I wanted actually to show the X-Wing that went along with that generation. So here we have the 2005 TIE Fighter, and for the longest time we had the X-Wing kind of fight these type of TIE Fighters back in 2005. Then in 2006 we had this generation of X-Wing. So this one kind of overlapped with this TIE Fighter, as well as this X-Wing overlapped with it as well. So this was basically the TIE Fighter that we saw against it. Then in 2012, we had this TIE Fighter, and this was the X-Wing that was in correlation with it on the first Death Star. So these were the two that were going on then. The First Order TIE Fighter was just kind of an offshoot on its own thing, and there was some Resistance X-Wings, which were basically like this X-Wing, but there were some key differences. One day I'll do a comparison of those two, but I just wanted to throw this TIE Fighter in there. This one has no relation to these X-Wings. And then in 2018, we got this TIE Fighter, and that correlated with this X-Wing. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys an idea of what the generations kind of looked at like, because the TIE Fighter and X-Wing, they are each other's nemesises. And I thought it'd be cool just to show that. But now let's compare the TIE Fighters. All right, so here we have them in chronological order, from earliest to latest. So here's the 2005, and then the 2012. So we can see a huge size difference, as we were mentioning. Then the 2015, and basically the 2015 and the 2018 are nearly identical. They're just obviously a different style because they're from different time frames in the Star Wars universe, but very, very similar looking. But yeah, very nice looking TIE Fighters. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. Just thought I'd give you guys a comparison of all of them, and then I'll just show you guys the back as well, just to, you know, just kind of give a little bit better review. The lighting's not as good back here, but you can see how they kind of changed over the years. Always cool to see how Lego kind of changes in comparing them. But yeah, those are the TIE Fighters. Now let's get into the end of the review. Well guys, that pretty well does the comparison video. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really do like all these TIE Fighters in their own special way. I mean, for minifigs, yeah, the 2005 TIE Fighter takes the cake. For actually being authentic and looking the best, I have to say the 2018. I don't always say the newest is best, but in this case, I do believe it is. The 2015 is a close second though. They're basically almost identical. The only thing is, and that's more of a movie preference than anything, I do find it strange that this cockpit fits 2 TIE pilots. I think it's a cool concept. I just don't really agree with the science of it in the Star Wars universe. But we're getting really picky when we get into stuff like that. Yeah, the 2012 is a solid all-around model. Just, you know, the bubble effect on the window was definitely improved with later models. And then we got the nostalgic 2005 TIE Fighter. Can't go wrong with it. Although, as we saw, it is far smaller than all the other ones. The 2012 kind of set the tone, basically, for how big a TIE Fighter should be. But yeah, that's the video. But if you like the video, leave it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing. And click that bell so you're notified for any future comparison videos that I do, because I do enjoy doing them. And I know you guys like them as well. I actually prefer them over reviews. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. But take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.